Finance and Investment Committee for April 10th, 2025. And our first order of business is to approve our minutes from March 6th. And I'm going to call on our Vice Chairman, Commissioner Trey Gooch.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have reviewed those minutes and find them to be in order. So my motion is to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next order of business is public comments. We've had one gentleman sign up, Gary Carter, to speak about middle schools. Gary, if you're here. Okay. Next order of business is the investment report, and Mr. Beatty's not with us tonight, and Michael's going to cover that for us.
So we had no new investments this past month. However, our bank rate is still 4.05%, and our LGIP rate has dropped a little bit to 4.29%, but those are both still healthy rates for us. And then on your iPad, you can see the list of investments. But if there's any questions, I can try to answer those.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Michael, please continue with the fund condition report.
So looking at the fund and condition report and our revenue report, I am happy to report that we've hit 100% of our budgeted property tax collections, so that's good. And then so far we've collected a little over 96% of the tax roll, which is in line with where we should be at this time of year. So that's all good news. And so far, our sales tax, we were a little worried it may dip with the economy, and it may still, but right now it's still holding steady at 3% countywide and 7% for the county situs portion. So we're right where we should be this time of year as we dive into next year's budget. And that's my report.
Any questions for Michael from the committee? Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion. Have a motion to approve the report.
Second.
And a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item is number 5, risk management financial report. Welcome.
Ed Elam, Insurance and Risk Management Director for Rutherford County. So for the calendar year 2025, March, you have revenue $2,406,156, expenditures $2,557,704. Difference in revenue expenditures, a negative $151,548. And the total for the year, the calendar year, 2025, revenue $6,181,046, expenses $6,965,030. Your revenue less expenditures, a negative $783,984. And the 24-25 fiscal year comparison, the total is revenue $17,928,625, expenditures $19,983,311, and your revenue less expenditures is a negative $2,054,686. On the 266 fund for the month of March, you have workers' comp, $655.09, OJI, $79,620.49. The total for the month of March, $80,275.58. Year to date, you have $7,179.85. For workers' comp, OJI, $819,211.65. And for the total, $826,391.50. And the legal for the month of March, $72,855.03. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chairman.
You've heard the report. Any questions from our committee? Have a motion to approve the report. And a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ed.
Okay, I do have a
Go
second
ahead.
thing. The second thing, the incoming recommendation coming from the Insurance Committee is to change our platform from the Cigna Motivate Me, which is going away, and they're doing away with it, and to change it to My Benefits Channel Wellness Platform. The motion was to change this and accept their new wellness point structure effective 10/1 of 2025.
Ed, will this make any financial difference to,
No, the cost is being picked up by My Benefits Channel and our broker.
okay. Any questions for Ed on this change with the wellness point structure? We do need to vote on that, though. I have a motion to approve. And a second. Any further discussion or questions for Mr. Elam? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ed.
Thank you. Have a blessed night.
Item number 6, a general fund budget transfer for the DUI expansion grant. Welcome.
Good evening, Lindsay Davis, filling in for Lachelle Ricks while she is on maternity leave. We have an amendment request to increase our contracts line by $8,475 for Allard Consulting. And that's the request. This is for our DUI expansion grant, I'm sorry.
You're recognized.
It's for a grant that we have for our DUI court program.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Not, we will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman, as presented.
I have a
Second.
motion to approve.
Second.
Second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call roll, please.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris. Yes. Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner P.
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Hey, thank you. Next is item number 7, and I think Chief Spence will be doing that. I think he's going to do 7, 8, and 9.
Good evening. Steve Spence, Deputy Chief at the Sheriff's Office. This amendment is being requested following a approved grant modification approved from the Tennessee Highway Safety Office Teen Driver Safety Grant. The request would move $3,500 from the overtime-related costs to law enforcement supplies in order to purchase fatal vision goggles. These goggles will be used to demonstrate polydrug use in the effects between marijuana and alcohol. The period of performance of the grant is October the 1st, 2024 through September 30th for 2025. This is a no-match grant. Requesting $2,930 from the overtime line item 181 from Social Security, $347 from pension, $42 from Medicare, and placing into the law enforcement supplies line item. Next amendment is being requested to recognize reallocation of expenses for the financial year 23 BGA Connect and Protect Law Enforcement Behavioral Health Response Program Grant. The budget amendment reallocates funds from the uniforms to printing, stationery, and forms to print pamphlets and a banner to promote the program and increase the community's awareness. This grant period of performance ends September 30th for 2026. Requesting to take $400 from uniforms and place it into the print and stationery and forms. Next amendment is to recognize revenue and expenses for the salary supplement paid from the State of Tennessee Peace Officer Standards Training Commission for all certified deputies that met their in-service requirements in 2024. Requesting to accept $196,800 from the state and place into our salary supplements line items. The next amendment is to recognize revenue from the other charges for services we receive for vehicle fees. We're requesting to place these funds into our vehicle parts line item, $20,000.
Motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve these 4 amendments. Do I hear a second? And a second. Any questions for Chief Spence or further discussion? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris. Yes. Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner P.
Yes, motion carries. Please continue.
Yes, sir. This amendment is from the jail side, is to recognize funds from other salaries and wages to place into our transport other than students and food supplies line items, requesting $250,000 from our other salaries and wages, placing $200,000 in food supplies and $50,000 in transport other than students.
Committee, do y'all want to continue on to the next amendment too? These are all, okay, go ahead with your next one. We'll put these together.
Yes, sir. This is from the drug fund line item. Is to recognize revenue from the restricted for public safety to move funds into the maintenance and repair of vehicles, requesting $10,000 from the public restricted for public safety and placed into the maintenance and repair of vehicles line item.
Okay, you've heard these requests.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call roll.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris. Yes. Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner P.
Yes, motion carries. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is number 10, Highway Fund Budget Amendment. And Mary, I believe she's here tonight.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm Mary Hickerson. I'm the Department Coordinator for the Rutherford County Highway Department. I bring to you tonight two budget amendments that was passed at our road board last Thursday morning. The first one is going to be for bridge construction. We're moving $975,000 from our fund ending balance and moving it into our $68,705 bridge construction. So that will end up making my bridge construction line item $2,125,000 and taking the fund ending balance down. So it's for a total of $975,000 for bridge replacement on Swamp Road and North Lane repair.
Mary, if you would, if I don't hear an objection, go ahead with your next amendment.
Okay. And the second one we have tonight is for overtime. The overtime is due to the snow and water events for January and February. This is moving a total of $15,000. It's $5,000 out of the $62,000 equipment to overtime pay, $5,000 from the $63,142 mechanics to overtime pay, and $65,103 assistant to their overtime pay. And that's moving it within the personnel salaries or line items into the overtime.
We saw this at Public Works Tuesday night, and it passed there unanimously. Have a motion to approve these two
Second.
amendments.
Second.
The second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, call roll, please.
Gooch, Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris. Yes. Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner P.
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Item 11 and I think 12, Mr. Gregory. Item 11 is the general fund budget transfer for PAWS.
Good evening, Michael Gregory with Rutherford County PAWS. Tonight we have an amendment to move money within our budget to help cover overtime and some various line items for the end of the year.
I have a motion and a second to transfer these funds. Any further questions for Michael? Call roll.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris. Yes. Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy,
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner P.
Yes, motion carries. Item 12, Michael.
Yes, sir. This is a grant that we apply for every year with the state of Tennessee. It's the Animal Friendly Grant for low-cost spay and neuter. We're asking for permission to apply and to accept and have the mayor sign if received. Typically, the grant amount, the max that you can apply for is $5,000. Typically, you get just whatever you get. We've received $1,500 for the last several years for this, and there's no county match.
I have a motion and a second for application and acceptance of the 2026 Animal Friendly Grant. Any further discussion? Call roll.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Yes. Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy?
Yes.
Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you all. Have a good
Mike.
evening.
Item 13, general fund budget amendment and transfer for the county clerk. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Kroll, County Clerk's Office. We have a budget. We have two budget amendments tonight. The first one is to move $3,800 from line item 334, which is maintenance agreements. Actually, we're moving it from 449, other supplies and materials, to 334, which is maintenance agreements. And this is to get us through the end of this year.
It's okay, we'll look at both of these together unless I hear an objection.
Motion to approve.
Oh, okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion?
One stipulation, I'm sure that you will make sure that it's legally registered correct.
Of course.
A little font.
Just take them.
Okay. Just
In-
two.
Wait a minute, we need to go ahead and vote on this.
Correct. Could we clarify the motion?
Paul, your motion was to approve the transfer of $3,800 from maintenance to other supplies and materials. That's the way I heard the motion. Did I hear? I thought I had a second.
You did.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Yes. Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Yes. Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes, motion carries. Go ahead with your other one, please, Lisa.
Okay. This one is asking to take $26,000 out of earmarked account for the county clerk's office for titles that we do in order to purchase a 2025 Ford Escape Active, which is a small SUV. The SUV is for us loading steel plates that I have to transfer from one office to another, which happens regularly, weekly. With that being said, we also currently have two older vehicles. Both of them are 2006. They seem to be at the repair shop a lot, and with the responsibility that we have, we just thought it was the appropriate time to ask. And those two vehicles, my understanding is, will be sold on gov.com to recoup some of this.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other questions for Ms. Kroll? Hearing none, call roll.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Yes. Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Yes. Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.
Next item is 14, general fund budget amendments for emergency management.
Chairman, committee,
Welcome.
Chris Clark, Public Safety Director. Tonight I'm requesting approval on a budget amendment of two budget amendments. First one being 2024 Homeland Security Grant, amount of $17,184. This is
Don't mind, if I don't see an objection, go ahead and do your second one at the same time.
pretty much kind of the same thing. And the second one is the 2024 Urban Area Security Initiative. Both of these grants are 100% reimbursements. This is something that we do annually. It's a regional project. There's 5 counties 5 to 7 counties that are involved in this grant.
I have a motion and a second. Any other questions for Director Clark? Hearing none, call roll.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Yes. Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Yes. Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes, motion's carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Items 15, 16, and 17 are under the school boards. And the first one is Education Capital Projects Fund Budget Amendment. We've got the dynamic duo coming in tonight, so
You do.
welcome both of you.
Trio, I guess.
Oh, three, I'm sorry, I didn't see the trio there.
Thank you, Commissioners. Kay Martin, Deputy Superintendent for Rutherford County Schools, here on behalf of Dr. Sullivan. He had tried to make plans to be here. We swapped some board meetings around, but he had to have neck surgery today from injuries that he obtained when he was trying to rescue Asher a year ago. So he's not able to be here today, so I'm here for him. First item, number 15 on your agenda, Fund 177 amendment. This amendment moves funds from account 34685 committed for capital projects to account 91300-335 maintenance and repair service buildings and the amount of $1,635,468. This movement of money from fund balance will go to fund the additional increase of $84,442 to the high school LED lighting project and the additional increase of $1,551,026 to Phase 1 of Smyrna Elementary's HVAC project.
And I'll let's go ahead and vote on these one at a time, if y'all don't mind. Anybody have any questions for Assistant Director?
So this is composed of two parts, Mr. Chairman. This is $84,000 to the LEDs, and then $1551026 to Smyrna Electric HVAC. Do you recall? This is probably a Tralee, I guess, question. Remember when Oakland, Riverdale, and Smyrna had their additions, $156 million financed, and there was another $45 million that was presented to us the night of the education and joint education, health and ed, and budget meeting, and there was $45 million, over $45 million allocated in the next year, 2, 3, to Oakland, Riverdale, and Smyrna, and this HVAC triggered a thought in my mind. How much of that $45 million that was going to be spent, it was 156 plus another 45 was going to be spent on the additions. The 45 was from 177. How much of that $45 million has been spent? And of that, $30 million of it was HVAC, which is partly just why this triggered in my mind. How much of that $45 million has been spent for Oakland, Riverdale, Smyrna?
Our 177 fund has never been funded over $18 million, so we've done.
Okay, no, this was a multi-year deal, and if you added up the amounts over 2 or 3 years that were going to be spent on Oakland, Riverdale, and Smyrna, you ended up over $45 million.
I think he's asking about, you remember there's a sheet that every budget year on 177, y'all have like 4 or 5 years out, and then you've got it listed kind of elementary, middle, and high. I think the commissioner's referring to that sheet that had 4 or 5 years out that shows y'all's big $300 or $400 million or $200 or $300 million capital project backlog. I think that's the sheet he's referring to, those backlog of projects at those schools where a portion was going to be some work done out of 177 at those high schools.
Well, actually talking with Dr. Sullivan at the time, I'm not putting words in his mouth. At that point, he said that would be an additional amount that would go towards towards the renovation, essentially. Now, I'm not going to put words in his mouth. I could be wrong on that. All right, just to be fair. But there was, if you looked at Fund 177, it was distributed the night of Health and Ed joint budget meeting, okay? And if you look at 177 and you look under all the little categories and you add them all up, there was over $45 million on Oakland, Riverdale, and Smyrna, in addition to the 156. So what I'm trying to find out is, because this is coming out of 177, I'm trying to understand how much of that money has already been spent on the Oakland, Riverdale, Smyrna of that $45 million.
I'm not following. I can tell you this much. In 177, and I think I remember that meeting, we do present a 5-year plan. And there is different HVAC. We moved, and I'm going to refer to you, Mr. P, because we moved a couple of pennies out of 141 into 177, which actually gives us a little bit more money.
Right,
And
well, this was, okay, just to be clear, this was additional monies, in addition to the 156, that was going to be spent on Oakland, Riverdale, and Smyrna in the total amount of over $45 million. Of that, $30 million was HVAC, and you don't recall?
No, sir, we haven't spent $30 million on HVAC. I don't remember that at all, no, sir.
Okay, and that's fair. What I'll do then is get the copy of it, because I saved a copy.
He's not saying you spent. I think he's asking, I'm pulling it up here, this list where y'all have all the projects in 177, that's the wrong one. I think what he's asking for is when y'all presented that list of 177 projects, you have a backlog in 177 because...
It's $488 million.
Yes, so I think he's asking how much have you knocked off of Oakland and Riverdale,
Right, of the
Smyrna?
45.
Have you been able to tackle any of those projects in that backlog that were attributed to Oakland, Riverdale? Because you haven't spent...
Yes.
Of the more than $45 million, in addition to the 156, how much have you knocked off that list?
We reanalyze each year what's the worst-case scenario. We've worked on Rockville Elementary. We've worked on Stewartsboro. Any HVAC work that's been done has been done through the GP. We've done a little bit for Oakland and Riverdale, but I'm not remembering a $30 million number.
Okay, I'll provide
Okay.
it, and we'll get to the bottom of it, because I distinctly remember adding it up and then asking and having conversations with Dr. Sullivan, why are we doing 156 plus another in finance pennies, $1.5 million roughly in a finance penny, okay? And then why are we spending, hard pennies in 177? And what I'm hearing is it probably got moved around year to year. Could you, at this point, that's what I'm hearing, okay? Because if you don't recall, a $30 million, total expenditure on Oakland, Riverdale, and Smyrna for HVAC, that means things have moved around, and I don't know how. I'm just trying to understand it. And so, and there's another $15 million worth for those 3 high schools as well. Okay, so maybe could you undertake to go and look at the first budget meeting, first that I participated in, and we can get you, Michael and I can get you the year.
I got it.
Okay, and then, oh, you have it? Okay.
Yep. I think he's talking about this 5-year capital projects request, and I think he's adding, so there's 7, 8.
I suppose it doesn't add up to 30.
Oh, I'm not saying it does, but this is the sheet he's referring to
Right.
from 2023.
Right.
And I think if you just took everything,
It totals right here.
no, he's talking about though
Are you wanting to date what they've spent on HVAC out of that?
Oh, I want to know where the
particular
$45
line?
million went. In other words, it was set up as $45 million, $156 million financed, and it was $45 million for Oakland, Riverdale, and Smyrna, okay, over the next few years. And it's a simple question. Was that money spent or not, or is there some left over, or how does it work, or is there some additional amount that hadn't been spent yet? That's perfectly fine, too.
So I think what he's asking is, they only got $18 million, roughly, I'm rounding, roughly $18 million a year in Fund 177. And I think if I'm hearing Trey Lee say is they look at that 177 and reprioritize every year which projects they're going to hit on that backlog. And so they may not have spent any towards that 45 or 30 million that you're talking about for Oakland Riverdale. I don't know. It'd be what y'all spend on a 177, but the max they're going to spend every year is 18 million because that's.
Well, we used to get just, I still call it Dr. Bullen's nickel, and it's gone up and down a little bit, but we were receiving roughly $8 million. And then last year or the year before, we moved some pennies from 141 into 177, which gave us an additional 10 million. So last year we got 18 million. Of that 18 million, we spent about 6 million of it in HVAC. It was not spent at Oakland, Riverdale, or Smyrna.
Okay, but that's not really what I'm asking.
Okay, and I'm going to have to go back and look because I wasn't part of the conversation.
I'm asking for there on that chart, it showed, okay, if you add, it wasn't just 1 year, you had to go out a year or two, maybe 3, and you added it all up, okay, and it showed $45 million was budgeted to fix stuff at Oakland, Riverdale, and Smyrna.
He's got it, and it doesn't add up to 45 million for Oakland, Riverdale, and Smyrna.
I think what he's saying is, though, they haven't spent any of that 45 million towards Oakland, Riverdale, or Smyrna is what he's saying.
So you've spent 156, but you've not spent another dime beyond that.
Have you done any 177 projects at Oakland, Riverdale, or Smyrna this year?
Yes, small ones. We did a little bit at Riverdale, a little bit at Oakland. I mean, they're $500,000. But those numbers right there don't add up to 30 million. So I'm going to have to go back and find what you're talking about.
Fair enough. Okay.
But I'll be glad to do it.
Okay, and that's great. I'm just trying, but the thing that struck me as odd was you had 156 million plus another 30 million for HVAC for the same 3 high schools. It's not like 10, 10, 10, 30, 30, whatever it is. It was broken out, which is why I had to go through all the pages of it. So what I'm hearing is, if I could go beyond this just briefly, 177, what level of control is there over 177? And this is partly a Michael question and partly a question for you, because if it's truly that fluid, okay, maybe we should drop it even more, put it in the general fund and start putting it over so we have at least some understanding of what the money is being spent on and what the budgeting process is.
All right, every year I present.
That was just a statement. It's not really a question, but if you'd like to respond, I'm happy to listen. Okay,
so every year we present certain projects that are highlighted when we present our proposed budget to spend the 18 million. I'm going to use that number, which is what we got last year. And we propose certain projects to be accomplished that year, and that's the projects we do. And that is brought before your body to approve.
So 177 is aspirational, is that what you're saying? It's kind of like, these are our goals for the coming year, maybe sort of, kind of, and we're just going to, I'm trying to understand 177 better.
Let me interject something. Maybe this will help, and I'll give you for instance, we had nothing budgeted for a new hot water heater out at the sheriff's department. We had one of those boilers, I call them boilers, fail. Well, by state law, we got certain criteria we have to maintain. And basically what happens out of this 177, they have a list and they try to prioritize which is worse. But if they have a failure somewhere unexpected, they can transfer that money into a maintenance type item, because that's what 177 is for, maintenance. And we had set some money aside because we kept getting, and I understand your frustration with it, but we kept getting surprises that were not happy surprises where we ended up having to pull money out of ending fund balance. And so one of the ideas that Dr. Bullen came up with, former commissioner, was to set aside, I think it was 5 cents at the time, every year for the 177 fund. And we've operated it, and we've actually changed that money up and down. But I understand your concerns. I kind of want to know where that 48, I think you said, has been spent. But as far as the 177 fund, Michael, you can straighten me out on it.
So I did look at the list. I did find the list that you're referring to that's got a, and I just showed Trey. It does have a 5-year time frame. They really provide that list to us as a courtesy. When we fund their capital projects, it goes in one line. And it is the purview of the school board to allocate that money to capital projects as that school board sees fit. Now, you are correct. If you wanted to vote on each individual one of those projects, you would have to allocate that to a different fund that's not 177, like the general fund, like our county capital projects fund, and then they could come and ask on a project-by-project basis if that's your question. But as to how this fund works, we allocate $18 million. I'm using that as a round number. That goes to them. They bring us this list of projects that's $200-300 million, whatever that backlog is. They would like to tackle projects on that list, but they're not held to that. As long as they spend the money in a capital projects manner and it's an allowable cost, it is up to the school board to vote on the individual project, and they only need to come to the commission to amend it, and like in this case for the amendment you see before you tonight, because they're pulling out of fund balance. If it's not pulling out of fund balance, they spend off of the project list that as the school board revises it. I don't know if that helped you.
It's, and historically, we do some upgrades to a building when we do a renovation. But if we spent the 30 or 40 million and tacked it on to the building program, then your number goes up by that much. We would be, and Michael, I'm speaking different language, we would be doing maintenance projects under a capital building program. And I guess you could do it.
I didn't hear the first part what you said. I was looking.
I think what he's asking is how much of this 30 million have we gotten to out of capital projects? It's all over the county. I can go back and tell you how much of that 30 million we've spent out of 177 on Smyrna, Oakland, or Riverdale that are in those projects. I can tell you that.
It was 45 million, over 45 million. Those are just the HVAC pieces.
I just got close. We'll have to, yep.
I'll get you the answer.
You have an updated 177 list of priorities. Can we get that before the Health and Ed budget meeting? Okay, so we have like at least a little time to look at it.
What we're doing currently or what we want to do next year?
In other words, every year we seem to get one at the Health and Ed, in the Health and Ed budget joint meeting, you know, it actually
Yes,
the
sir.
budget. Can we get it sooner?
Yeah, you can have it now. The board approved it last night.
Oh, okay, great.
So
Could you distribute-
as far as I'm concerned, we can send it to you, yes.
Right, or even
What
put
we're
it on the,
proposing for next
can we
year.
put it on the meeting website, the materials? Because I'm sure I'll get questions about it.
Yes, the answer is yes.
Okay.
We can get that.
Yeah, we can send it over now.
Okay, the 177 list. Okay, great. Thank you. And appreciate your patience.
And just to provide a little more information, for this Smyrna HVAC unit here, this is something we've already started. We would really like this to be funded so we could move it up and complete it this summer instead of having a whole nother school year where this is still causing problems for our students and faculty there. So that's the purpose. Instead of having to go through a whole nother school year where they don't have the perfect unit in place, we want to try to go ahead and complete this project. It is something that's ongoing, I know, and Mr. Lee can speak to this better than me, but I know recently, even when we had the cold weather, we had some more problems with this. We keep having to patch it. We've already started the whole repair, but this would allow us to complete that project a year earlier for those students and faculty.
Okay, you've heard the request. Are there any more questions for our Assistant Director? Not, I will entertain a motion. Okay, and that motion is to fund account 91300-335 maintenance and repair services building in the amount of $1,635,468 as presented.
Yes.
Do I have a second on that motion?
It was Serena.
And a second, Commissioner Sereno. Any further discussion? Call roll.
Commissioner Gooch,
Yes.
Commissioner Harris. Yes. Commissioner Irvin,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
No.
Commissioner Piercy. Commissioner Sereno,
Yes.
Commissioner P.
Yes. Motion carries. Please continue.
Okay, so the next one is for Poplar Hill Middle bid approval. On Thursday, March 20th, Purchasing and Engineering received bids for the Poplar Hill Middle School project. After review of the bids, R.G. Anderson Company contractor is recommended for the lowest and best bid of $59,197,000 to include unit prices 1 through 3 and all unit prices. At the Thursday, March 20th board meeting, the Rutherford County Board of Education approved moving the project forward to the Health and Education Committee and to the full County Commission with the overall request of $70,897,000. That breaks down with construction, $59,197,000, construction-related contracts, $2 million, furniture, fixtures, and equipment at $4.5 million, design, $3.7, site contracts, $1.5, with a total request of $70,897,000. $70,897,000.
Okay, Michael, I'm going to ask Tim to go over some things on this particular motion. Or request, excuse me, we don't have a motion out there right now.
So the school board is requesting $70,897,000 for the Poplar Hill Middle School. That includes $3.7 million out of that we've already funded through design fees. And I would highly recommend we cannot reimburse them for the 3.7 because we didn't pass a reimbursement resolution at the time. I have spoken to Director Sullivan about this. My recommendation would be to lower it by that $3.7 million to get to $67,197,000, because on top of that, we will also have to share $3,498,629 with Murfreesboro City Schools. And so that total borrowing request would move to $70,695,629. If we borrow the extra $3.7 million we've already funded, we're going to have some arbitrage issues with interest rates. And so that'd be my recommendation for this body if you wish to move forward with this project.
Michael, if you would, repeat the number, and the number that you just gave us, is that after we've shared with Murfreesboro's?
$70,695,629 would be the total cost, including what you would share with Murfreesboro City Schools.
And that's with us deducting the money that we had already appropriated?
That's correct.
So the request actually will be, or at least Michael's recommendation, the way we fund this is to not fund the money that we have already appropriated and to subtract that from the request and then add the money that we have to share by state law with Murfreesboro City Schools. And at the end of those transactions, it's $70,695,621.
$29, yes.
29. Any questions on that from the committee? I want to make sure everybody understands what's going on there and why we changed those numbers. And this did go before the director of schools, so they're not getting a surprise here.
One question.
You're recognized.
What middle schools will this new school relieve?
So the closest school that it's going to really relieve all the middle schools. The closest one that it will relieve is Blackman Middle, which is our largest middle school right now, one of the largest in the state. If I can give you exact numbers, Blackman Middle School, if you remember, we have an addition there that we had a couple years ago. It's a 2-story addition to the main building. Currently, we have over 1,700 students at Blackman Middle School. This will also relieve Rockville Middle School. Rockville Middle School currently already has an addition as well that was in the recent years and already serves over 1,500 students. So it's going to, kind of spread out all over the district, but those 2 schools will be the main 2 that will be affected.
Did I understand you to say Rockville Middle School?
Yes, sir.
Are you going to bus children from the Rockville area to
So
Blackman?
with our rezoning that we have, this will just help alleviate Blackman Middle, but then it's kind of a domino effect when we open a school with rezoning and all of those factors.
Will the new middle school require any new bus routes?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to make sure I think I understood your question. Will it require new bus routes? Yes, sir, 8 to 10. And we have that in our budget, proposed budget that will be coming later, but yes, sir, it will.
I have a question for Mr. Lee. Just out of curiosity, the $2 million for construction-related contracts, could you give me an idea of what that is?
Yes, sir. We'll end up having Middle Tennessee electric fees, CUD fees. We don't carry these in the contractor's fees. We've historically paid those direct because we save the markup on those, and we work with them. So typically it's CUD, Middle Tennessee Electric, TDEC, all those kind of fees. Any things that we have to pay to TDOT, any other city impact fees for like capacity fees for sewer and that kind of thing, that's where all that money comes out of.
So the cities, you're having to pay, part of this $2 million would be permits, city permits, sewer, would it be those?
It would not be permits. It would be the sewer impact fee. So we do pay their impact fees. It's in the county, so we wouldn't pay that, but because it is city sewer, we have the sewer impact fees. We also have third-party inspectors that we have to pay. We have other inspectors and things that we do. All those fees come out of that fund.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Just one other question. You said 8 to 10 new routes. And you said it was in your budget? You had added, you'd already put it in.
Upcoming budget, yes, sir.
Yes. How did you know how much to put in if you're negotiating a new contract at this point?
Right now, we don't know what the number is, but we have added the number. In other words, we've added 8 at last year's, and once the contract's established, that will be adjusted by Mr. Runyon for the overall contract.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any more questions?
Mr. Chairman? I want to.
Yes. I'm sorry, I'm having trouble seeing y'all, but go ahead.
So from our conversation, I appreciate the opportunity to visit with y'all earlier. There was 1,100 students? Is that correct?
At which school?
At
the new one? Yeah.
1,100. And so that comes out to about $65,000 per student construction cost. Is that about right? 65,000. Okay, if I divide 70,897 divided by 1,100, 64,500 roughly. Okay, does that sound about right to what you're judging? Or is that, I guess my question is, how does that compare to other middle schools? Have you all done that kind of analysis?
Typically, our analysis is based on square foot costs because that's what we compare with other districts and the construction industry. I don't typically do numbers per student, but I can.
So how does this square footage number compare with other districts, other schools?
It's at this point in time, average around what's going on. We got good numbers this time. And I think, I don't want to misquote anything. Let it go, okay. Building only square footage is $320.74. Building and site square footage, $370.86. Compared to the elementary that was bid 2 years ago, the elementary was $358. So for construction cost in 2 years, we went up $12 per square foot. And with the price of materials and the things that we've gone on, that is a good number.
And then a couple questions. We're capped at 1,100. Why not more than 1,100, given the county is growing? And why is this expandable? So 2 questions. One, why are we capping it at 1,100, and is it expandable at a reasonable cost, et cetera?
Let me interject a little bit there. At one time, the commission stepped in and said, hey, there's a certain size we don't want to go over. And if I'm not mistaken, Trey, maybe you can remind me, I was thinking it was a maximum of 12, but desirable was 1,000, or 900 to 1,000 maybe was the desirable number. And y'all correct me if that's not the case.
And that's what we've been working on for the last 18 years. We've tried to keep our elementaries around 1,000, middles around 1,100, and then our high schools were around 2,000. We've recently increased that with the additions to 2,500, and but around 1,100 to 1,200 is I'm going to call it the sweet spot that the county commission liked, the school board liked, as far as being able to manage the students. There was an ask before we built Plainview, instead of portables and having all these portals, could we build schools that could be expanded at some point? In the past, we had not done that. Plainview is designed to be expanded. Poplar Hill Elementary is designed to be expanded, and this school is designed to be expanded. If it came to that point that we wanted to do so in the future, instead of adding portables, we can add 4 to 6 classrooms at a time. So you could build it in stages if that is the desire at that point in time.
And will this get rid of portables?
I'm hoping this is going to get us to the point that we can start removing them, yes, sir.
Okay, with no new ones in the near future.
I hope I don't, in my tenure, I hope I don't ever have to buy another one.
Fair enough. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And if I can add a little bit to that, just on the educational side of that, the 1,100, we would prefer them, smaller if we could. That's just more ideal for us instructionally and educational standpoint, to keep that high achievement that we're having in Rutherford County consistently year after year. If you go back to the previous health and ed meeting that we had in March with Dr. Sullivan, he even talked about down the road, we would like to have smaller schools and more of our community type of schools, just to keep, we're growing, obviously. We want to make sure we're not like some of the other larger districts that get so big that we lose our achievement, our control, that community feel. We have great tradition here in Rutherford County with education. Part of that is the relationships that we have in our communities, and we want to keep those community feels. And so that's kind of where we would like to go in the future. Also, just want to remind you, and I know Mr. Smith can speak to this too, but when we had projected this middle school in our 5-year plan, we had even estimated around $89 million, if I'm right, Mr. Smith, with that. And then we also had a guess later on with Mr. Smith, closer to time, maybe around $80 million. So we were we were extremely happy with that, the bid when it came in.
So if this is approved tonight, if y'all remember also, y'all approved Laverne Middle back, was it January, I'm thinking. So we would go to the bond market in the next several months. This would be combined with that. We did estimate with the bond market about $80 million, and this did come in about 70, so that's good news. And then there was approximately around $40 million for Laverne that will have to go to the bond market, so about $110 million that will go to the bond market for in the near future. Hopefully the bond market will calm down a little bit between now and then.
Any more questions from the committee? not, I will entertain a motion, and that motion would be to accept the construction bid of $59,197,000 for a total funding request of $70,695,629. Am I correct on that, Michael? Okay.
And I want to add, those amounts may change a tad once we go to the market. I mean, we share based on a percentage basis with the city. So if that ADA rate comes out and changes that we're using, it's not going to change much, but it may change by $200 each way. When we come back with the bond resolutions, I don't want anybody mad at me if it changes by a couple $100, but it very well could.
What, did you say that we was going to subtract the 3.7 million from design, from the 70?
That's correct.
67,197.
But then we've got to add back in the sharing portion with Murfreesboro City Schools.
So the total borrowing would be the 70.
Would be the number that Chairman P read, which is $70,695,629.
Okay. So moved, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Yes. Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Piercy? Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes, motion carries. You've got another one.
Yes, sir. So the last one tonight, Fund 141 Fund Balance Amendment. This budget amendment is to reflect the receipt of additional state revenue not included in the original budget. It includes moving Innovative School Models grant funding around to appropriate accounts, add funding for weapon detection systems, funding an additional day added to the calendar year for 12-month classified hourly employees, and adding funds to maintenance contracted service accounts for multiple projects that have increased expenditures. This amount has a net increase of both current year revenue and expenditures of $4 million with no use of fund balance. There are not any reoccurring costs included in this amendment.
Then I think you have an attachment that shows exactly what that's being used for. Any questions from the committee? Some of this is for safety. Metal detectors, things along that line?
Yes, sir. So we have some for the weapon detection, metal detector systems. We've collaborated with the Sheriff's Department on this. They're in support of this as well. Just another proactive layer of security for our schools. Some of this also involves just the innovative school grants, if you remember that with our CTE programs, cleaning up some of those line items. We also had some of our 12-month custodians at our schools, and then some of our 12-month classified employees at central office. We had budgeted for 260 days for them. It ended up being 261 days. That's around $150,000. If you'll look on your line item, that's really looking at 72, 110, and your 162, 201, 204, 212, and then down below that, 2 categories, and 72, 130 in that area too. It's really a cleanup with some of that from that 260 to 261. And then the weapons detection system would be about 2.6.
Okay, you've heard the request. Any more questions from the Assistant Director?
I'll have a few. Other student support, other equipment, 2.6, that's the protection type equipment. Can you give us a little bit of, without going into super secret stuff, which I can't imagine there would be much of, but a little bit of the justification, the analysis you went into, kind of why did you choose whatever you chose? You know, this I think is more like magnetometers or something. Why did you choose that versus other approaches? A little bit of kind of the rationale for it, and then was it competitively bid?
Yes, sir. So we've looked into several different systems. This one that we are recommending for purchase is the same one that's used here at the courthouse. It actually, where we became aware of this particular system, there's obviously several different kinds. It was used last year at our graduations with MTSU. They used it, so that's where we first realized this was another program. Again, it's used here at the courthouse too. This one is significantly cheaper than some of the others. It also, the others have an annual fee. This one does not have an annual fee. It also comes with training that will be provided to our schools to have that. You know, we had the Covenant School in Nashville. You had your Antioch situation. A couple weeks ago, we had a situation at one of our schools, and so this is just another proactive layer to keep our students safe.
Okay, and that's great. I'm trying to think through now. Which of those would this have prevented? Which of those events would this have prevented?
I'm sorry.
Which of those events would this system have prevented?
So if we have a weapon on campus, that will detect that before they come into our school building.
Okay. When they come in, or when they are there? How does
So they would be,
I don't know.
so just like when you go to an event, if you go to a ball game, you go to a concert, at some of your larger events, you know, when you enter, you walk through those weapon detector systems, it would be the same type of system with this. And so that would be detected before they're ever in our buildings on campus.
Okay. Just looking at the bigger numbers, 2,400 for Board of Education, other contracted services.
Where's he looking at?
24,000, sorry. Sorry.
Okay. That is some other security. That would be more of our cybersecurity that number covers. If
I couldn't hear you.
Yes, sir.
I apologize.
That 24,000 is security as well, but it's some of our cybersecurity.
Okay. 100,000 custodial personnel, is that adding them or adding, what's that doing?
That was adding the 1 day. We had originally budgeted for 260 days. That would add, we are actually going to be 261 days in their calendar.
Maintenance of plant, there's a 400,000 and a 300,000.
That's just the increase in some projects that we've had in our school that maybe went over just making those adjustments here at the end of the year.
Can you be a little more specific?
I can get that information for you. I'll have to get more specific information on that line item.
Okay, and then there was 1.5 in regular capital outlays, building improvements and other capital outlays. I'm combining 945 and 617.
What that is part of the movement of the ISM grant, the Innovative Schools Model grant. So we were moving money from one line item. So if you look on the other side in the decrease, those numbers will actually balance out, zero themselves out, because that's part of the Innovative Schools Model grant where we were moving money to those line items from another line item in the other part of the budget. So your 71,300s, if you look on the first page, the 71,300, 499, 730, that money also moved into the 76,100 account. So that's just movement of money around. So there was no cost to that or anything. It was just moving because there was amendment done to that grant. So we had to move the money around so we would not be over in a particular line item. So that's just shifting of money. That's all that is.
And I have a kind of a 177 type question on this too. Is the school board bound by these allocations? This is kind of a Michael question. Is the extent to which, all of these, the $4 million that's going into fund balance basically, and then that's being spent, is that something the county has the ability to control, or once we approve this, does it go to the schools and they can do pretty much whatever they want to with it?
So you're asking about this specific $4 million?
Yes, sir.
So if you don't, I'll just tell you two options. If you don't approve this tonight, they're still going to get the $4 million, and it will roll into their unassigned fund balance. If you approve it tonight, it is restricted to the line items that are before you tonight. Now, as far as what's in those specific line items, that is under the school board's purview.
Thank you.
Kind of jumping ahead just a little bit, but it'll kind of explain this to you. I put on your tables tonight before the meeting a handout. We've been doing that here lately. This one looks a little bit different tonight. If you'll look on that front page in the green, you will see a high performance bonus overview. That's where this $4 million is coming from, Commissioner Irvin. So the state created a financial reward system for districts that were achieving high A's, and so Rutherford County, we actually received the highest amount in the entire state. We received $4 million. There was only 2 districts in the state of Tennessee to receive $4 million. We were one of those districts. The other district was Williamson County. We received that because we had over 54% of our schools that had A's on their performance and their report card. So the state gave out anything from $500,000 to $4 million, and we received $4 million. So that's where that funding for this is coming from.
Hey, do y'all have, do you have to hire any more people to man these?
So with the security systems, we will not hire any additional employees. We obviously will have to have someone to man them. What we are wanting to do is to take current staff that already come in for morning bus duty, dismissal, those types of things. We will train those teachers, and we would like to try to give them a stipend, something similar like we do coaches.
So that will come
So
out
it's
of,
no additional staff.
that'll come out of the bonus? That money come out of the bonus, or is that a budget item?
That will be something that will come out of probably general purpose that we'll budget into. But there will be no additional teachers or, people hired.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, any more questions? You've heard our request to amend 141 with an increase of $4 million, both in revenue and expenditures. Having said that, I'll entertain a motion. I have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Yes. Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson? Commissioner Piercy? Yes. Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank
Did
you.
a good job tonight.
Wait, just
Mr. Chairman.
Do you have questions?
I was able to watch part of the school board meeting off and on today, and they were at the point of discussing the bus contract. One of the board members kind of tasked the audience of the meeting that they needed to come to the commission and see the commission about us generating more funds, coming up with new ideas to get revenue so we could fund more money and maybe help with the bus contract. Can you give us an oversight tonight on where we are on where you are on the bus contract and what type of extra money you would need to satisfy the bus drivers?
So currently we have Mr. Vaught, who have been working with the bus drivers, and of course Jeff Reed, our attorneys in theirs. They have been collaborating several times trying to, basically find an agreement. They're satisfied, we're satisfied. We have not come to that agreement yet. Hopefully at the April 24th meeting, that's when we'll be able to have a contract that both sides are in agreement for. I know for Dr. Sullivan, he has given his recommendation of what he believes that he can fit into the budget with what he is seeing now. You know, that's going to determine a lot, but he is recommending around 10%. That's what he's looking at. That is something that he feels is doable on our side.
Is that per year or a one-time raise for the full 4 years?
So that would be the 10%, but then also looking at part of that agreement would be the yearly increase to that, to their contract.
Of how much?
I think it's 2.5, 2.5. It's 2.5. So one thing that he's also asking, you know, the governor has the 50,000 minimum for our teachers. So he is asking for an increase for teachers, 2.5%. He would like to follow the same suit with the bus drivers each year.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman Phillips, you're recognized.
Thank you. You made some comments a little earlier, and I'm not disagreeing with what you said as it related to the size of schools. There's a huge benefit building larger schools from property, from the construction costs, from administrative cost and cafeteria cost and all those kinds of things. What's more important? Can you deal from an instructional perspective with larger schools as much as it's going to offset the cost of building more schools and building them so freaking close together? There's a lot of schools that you can get to from one middle school to the other one in 5 minutes. And that's the reason that we went with larger schools 10 years ago, simply because we were tired of building high schools within 5 minutes of each other. So from a budgetary perspective and a financial perspective, the commission thought it made more sense to build larger schools. I'm not saying that it's the best and most ideal things, but we in Rutherford County are not dealing with ideal situations. We're running out of land, we're running out of finances to build these schools. So your statement is well received, but the statement that this commission a number of years ago sent to you was, we're tired of building schools that you can get from one middle school to another or one high school to another in 5 minutes. You need to build bigger schools and build them further apart. And it would help a lot of situations, especially with the overhead cost of building those schools and running those schools in the future. So your position is well received, but I'm not sure that you're receiving and considering the statement that this commission or the Rutherford County Commission made a number of years ago, that to build them bigger would mean to save the taxpayers millions of dollars over a number of years. So I just didn't want to let you get away with making that statement without knowing what happened and why we're doing what we're doing.
Absolutely. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
When my daughters were in school, Oakland, my oldest daughter went to Oakland, and there were around 2,700 students at that time without the additions that you see. They had to stretch lunchtime out for, I don't know how long it was. They did not have lockers. I mean, it just went on and on. But anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next item. General fund budget transfer for juvenile detention. Lynn?
Good evening. In front of you, well, Lynn Duke, Juvenile Detention Center. So we do have one budget amendment tonight, and it is for a total of $5,000. It is within our budget. There is no new money here. It is taking $2,500 from line item 340, another $2,500 from line item 499, and moving that into other contracted services, which is $399, so that we can finish out the year for our juvenile meal service.
Any questions?
Approved.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion, any questions? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Yes. Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner
Yes.
Johnson? Commissioner Piercy? Yes. Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes, motion carries. Please continue.
Additionally, tonight I have 3 county contracts, one with Benton County, one with Carroll County, and one with Smith County. These have our new daily rate of $200 per day and a couple of other new language that the county attorney and the Juvenile Detention Center Board have approved. These are the same language in these, in addition to what I just said the change was with the $200 and et cetera. These are the same contracts that you've been seeing for some time.
Lynn, is this an entirely new contract? I understand it's a new contract, but is this a new county that we're contracting with, or is this just updating the contract?
These counties, these are, 2 of them are brand new, and one of them we originally contracted with many years ago. Then in one of our daily rate changes, they dropped off, and now they've come back on.
Okay.
Chairman, I have a question. Ms. Duke, have a lot of confidence in you. I have a question, though. Do you feel that $200, which you feel that's a good rate? Do you feel that's a good rate? Because my question is, there's some really, to my understanding, you have some very, say, high crime like murder or manslaughter. Wouldn't we, or should we charge more for that? Because that's putting our people in our county at risk. So how do you feel about that? Like, I understand we have at-risk kids, but we also have some really violent, dangerous people. So would we not, bringing in their county, would we not charge them more for that because you're having to do more than you would a normal, or would you?
So there's a couple different ways to look at that. We really don't have to do anything additional for the youth depending upon their charges. But what we do try to do is if we have an empty bed and we already have that area of the facility staffed, we can fill that bed and receive money, and it doesn't affect the cost to run the facility any more than if that bed was empty. There are ratios that we have to meet as far as staff to child ratios, but we have the ability to, with all of the counties, not just the ones in front of you, decline to take the children if for some reason they're not a good fit for us. We get the information prior to them sending them. Just because you have a contract with a county does not automatically mean that the child will be accepted. We still have the ability also, if once they're there, if they become problematic or they have behavior issues that we can't address or have medical issues that come up, we just simply call the county and say, come get your youth and take them home. Mm-hmm.
Okay, you've heard the request to add these 3 new contracts.
Motion to approve.
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Commissioner Piercy?
Said yes.
Okay. Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Item 20, general fund budget amendment, amendment and transfer for fire rescue. He actually has two, and I've asked him to put those together too. Is that- yeah.
Larry Farley, County Fire Service. First one is $25,321 out of fire permits. I want to move $5,000 of that into the data processing, $3,000 into other charges, and $17,000 into vehicle maintenance. The other one is I want to take $10,000 out of part-time personnel and put that in custodial supplies, $12,300 out of communications into furniture and fixtures, and then $15,400 out of utilities into other supplies and materials.
Okay, you've heard the request. Any questions for Chief?
Quick question. This says general fund budget amendment, but then it's increasing the revenue for fire or other permits.
That is money that they charge businesses to, for instance, they go out and they monitor their sprinkler systems, that kind of.
They charge permits for building, fire permits, inspections. If they have a food truck, they have to pay permit about that food truck and that it's been inspected.
Is it going into that account first, or where is it going?
So when you look at the budget amendment form,
Counting a little more than.
they've already, so if you look at that form, we did not budget any money in that line item.
Okay.
And they have, it says actual date, so to date, they have received $25,321 as of the end of March.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, so they got the money first.
I just want to understand how that.
Yeah, they got the money first.
Okay, guys, you've heard the request. Do I hear a motion or more questions? I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Yes. Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Yes. Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 21, general fund amendment for OIT. This guy we're wanting to hear from here.
Commissioner, Chairman Committee, this is a amendment to move $510,000 from the general fund into data processing equipment. And this would allow us to accomplish two things. One, it would allow us to replace the camera system at the Judicial Center. That camera system is past its end of support and is beginning to fail. So this is a crucial security implementation in the Sheriff's Office. This allows the Sheriff's Office to their staff to monitor the entire building. That way, being able to provide security for the building. And then the second item that it allows us, that this amendment would allow us to do, is do a complete overhaul of the audio system for this room, for the courtroom here. That has not happened in at least 20 years. We don't know exactly. It's really old, so it's allowed us for 20 years. You guys are familiar with some of the struggles we've had with our audio system as it has begun to fail. So both of these are replacing systems that are actively failing that we need to replace.
Any questions for the director? I have a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Second.
I have a question.
You're recognized.
Okay, thank you. The only thing I would note is that this is coming out of unassigned fund balance. This is not, in other words, there's no other place we could pull money from to do this emergency, because it probably is an emergency, at least at the courthouse, and it's sorely needed here. So I'm a little concerned that we're taking it out of unassigned fund balance. Just that means there's no other source apparently, no other budget item that Cody has or anything like that we could pull it out of, or correct me if I'm wrong, there is another source.
So a couple options here. Cody does not have another line item you could pull it out of his budget. Now, what I could do is run through the entire general fund and pull amounts where you would cobble together a lot, but ultimately they're going to close into fund balance anyways. So I could, if we didn't want to put one line, I would have 30 lines of empty positions or empty supplies. But ultimately, those lines are going to put that 510 back, the 510 back, if that makes sense. I would have to go through probably 10 or 15 departments, and we just cobble together the money, but it's going to close back. I do believe revenue will come in better to replace this 510 at the end of the year.
And that's good to hear. I was just noting that it's coming out of unassigned fund balance as opposed to another account where there could be some money that might be usable. I certainly don't want you to go be digging through a whole bunch of accounts, to try to cobble together. I don't want to put him through it. Okay.
I can assign it to Teresa here.
Michael would get it done really quickly, I'm sure, but we don't need to do that. I'm just noting it's coming out of unassigned fund balance. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion on this and a second. Any further discussion? Call roll.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Yes. Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Yes. Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes. And I have a question before you get away is how soon will this one be worked on?
So we currently have, in anticipation of this amendment passing, I've already contracted with the provider, and we are planning on conducting this in June, the last week of June and first week of July. So this space will be empty. There are no current meetings. I think insurance, Commerce and Insurance and Property Management have both moved their meetings. So we will have basically a 14-day window or 12-day window to accomplish this the last week of June, first week of July. That was the earliest we could get the vendor. So
this also puts pressure to approve the budget on the first reading so that we can do the microphone upgrades.
Yeah, we are very optimistic with your diligent work that you're going to get that done. So
Thank you, Cody.
Thank you, Committee Chairman.
All right, item 22, general fund budget transfer for the Register of Deeds. Welcome.
Good evening. I'm Heather Dahlbarn, Register of Deeds, and I just was asking for $600. I feel like a mouse compared to the last one.
So the normally anything under 1,000 does not come to this committee, but she already had one transfer this year that this put her over that $1,000 transfer. So our committee rules required that she had to come to budget. So
Right. Well, what happened? We had a quote from the vendor for this license, and it was going to be $600 more than due to the inflation than we had initially budgeted. However, I'm now asking for $2,300, so I feel like I'm really socking it to you because we got notified due to the tariffs in Taiwan of 36% that increases our need the $1,700 extra dollars. But they might be erased now that Trump has repealed the for 90 days. So really, I just need the $2,300 to be on the safe side, transferred from my supply list to my equipment list, and we'll do our best to get to the original price, but just to be safe, I'd like to ask for the $2,300. It's been kind of a circus.
Motion to approve, Mr.
Thank you.
So I have a motion to approve 2,300.
well, the amendments for 6, I believe would make it where she can afford the $2,300 in that line item, but they had requested an amendment for $600.
Yes.
Okay, so your motion is for the 600. Okay, thank you. And did I have a second on that?
Second.
And a second. Any further discussion?
Can't you buy in America?
No, I can't. It's a licensure which is proprietary to the product. So this is a high-dollar scanner that's inoperable currently without new licensure. So We use it throughout the county to digitize a lot of the books and records from many offices, not just our own. So,
Okay.
what am I doing? I'm not getting 2,300, or I'm getting 600.
Um,
I have to do an.
We can change that amount tonight. The original, I can't think of the lady's name, said 600, but if you want to change it to 2,300, we'd be glad to.
Prefer to make that 2,300 just to be safe, and obviously I'm not going to spend it if Trump's reversal of those tariffs is in effect.
So you're asking for the item of 2,300. Happy to give that to you. I'll amend my motion.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to amend that motion and make it 2,300. Does the second accept that? I believe it was
Sereno.
Sereno. He accepts that also. And as she explained, she'll return the money if not needed.
Right.
Any further discussion? Call roll.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Peak?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you, Heather. Item 23, Michael, I guess we're going to lean on you here. General Fund Budget Amendment for Electronic Monitoring, Indigency Fund.
So every year, we budget an estimated amount. The state also kicks in a certain portion for this, but anything over what the state kicks in, we have to cover based on state law. And so we're anticipating we might run a little short on the electronic monitoring Indigency Fund money that we have, and so we would like to go ahead and increase that so that we don't run short by the end of the year. So that's what, we don't really have a choice as far as doing this. It's a state mandate to monitor this once the state funds run out.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve. And a second. Any further discussion? Call roll, please.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner Peak?
Yes, motion carries. Item 24, TCRS contribution rate for 2025-26 budget.
So every year at this time, we bring our updated pension rate that we receive from TCRS. What you see before you tonight is the minimum that we must pay to stay part of the state pension system. As you know, in Tennessee, we have to fund 100% of the actuarial amount that TCRS provides us. That rate for the upcoming fiscal year FY26 is going to be 12.35. Our current rate is 11.88, so it goes up about 0.47%. I was asked by a commissioner tonight what we're currently paying and what that increase would be, so I will provide that. 1 second. Currently does 11.88. And I want to clarify, that is just for the county. That is not, the school's rates are different. But for the county right now, pension rates budgeted is about $13 million. And this change right here would increase us a little over $500,000. But like I said, that's the minimum. We can always choose to pay higher. In the past, if the rate has ever lowered, my recommendation would always be to leave it the same, but in this case, my recommendation would be to pay the 12.35.
We have a motion and a second. Have actual numbers for us, or you can give us the actual hard numbers. And I may have missed your figure there.
So today, right now, to start right now, budgeted for the pension current rate that we have is 12.97 million, so $13 million is what we have budgeted today for pension. Now, we won't spend all of that because we don't fill all our positions, but without adding any new positions, if this new rate would have been in effect this year, it would have cost us about an additional $500,000. So it'll be approximately $500,000 or a little more increase next year to the pension, not including any new positions.
All right, thank you, Michael. Okay, we've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Call roll.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris? Commissioner Irvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Piercy? Commissioner Sereno?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes, motion carries. Okay, item 25, again, Michael, resolution to request unclaimed balance of accounts remitted to state treasury under the Unclaimed Property Act. We do this pretty much every year.
So every year, we need to pass this resolution. This asks to get any unclaimed property back for the county back here. If somebody were to make a claim against that, we're accepting that liability and we would pay that person. However, these claims are well over a year or 2 years old by the time they get back to us. And so a lot of these are small amounts, but it requests that unclaimed property money back to us from checks that we've written that have not cleared, several years old.
So having said that, you've heard his request. Do I hear a motion to request the unclaimed money?
So moved.
I have a motion. I heard a second. Commissioner Johnson. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Will that float, Michael? Okay. Motion passes. And item 26, recommendations of the Rutherford Opioid Board.
So this is a contract for Screen Vision. Last month, we funded the actual funding for this. This is the contract for that advertising for Screen Vision to come before y'all. But the funding has already been approved at the previous month, last month.
Do you need a vote on this to accept the contract?
Please. Yes, please.
Any I have a motion to accept the contract, which.
Second.
And second.
Johnson, one second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Well, let's see. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay. That concludes our business for tonight and gets us to other business. Is there any other business?
I know everybody wants to go home, Chairman P., and we have quite a crowd in the audience. Most of them are bus drivers. They weren't allowed to public comment because there was supposedly nothing on our agenda pertaining to their bus contract. If it would be possible, I would like to make a motion to let 2 or 3 of them address this committee, since the school board has tasked them to come and talk to us. If that would be possible, I would make that motion.
I've got a motion. Do I hear a second to allow 3 people, maximum of 3, to come up and speak?
Second.
And I have a second. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? 3 people.
Put a 5-minute time limit on it.
5 minutes for all 3, or
No.
5 minutes apiece?
Each. And they may not have but 1, but you've got up to 3.
Chairman, if you could ask him to state their name for us, please.
Yes, name and address, please.
Address as well.
Please.
My name is Gary Carter. My address is 112 Neal Avenue up in the big city of Smyrna. I'm here representing the school bus organization. We have been tasked to come to you guys and ask for money because we keep being told by the school board that you're not going to give them the money to give us a raise. What I see is we're spending money on schools, we're spending money on buying land, but we're not thinking about how to get the kids to and from school. If we can't get them to the school and home every day, we don't need new buildings. That's kind of our thing on that. We have been pushed to the back burner and pushed to the back burner and pushed to the back burner. And we're coming up on the end of the school year and our contract's about to expire. As it sits right now, the students of this county will not have a way to and from school next year. And I think that's going to be a problem. And that's just kind of where we're at. The school boards, like I said, like you saw last night, they're telling us to come to you guys because they're telling us that you aren't going to give them the money to give us a raise that we need. Our costs have went up by over 50% over the last 4 years. And when our costs have went up, we've gotten 14% to eat that 50% that our costs have went up. We cannot continue to survive on 10% raises. We are so far behind. I know over the last few contracts, you have given the school board money to pay us. They have chosen to use that money elsewhere. That is not our fault. We should not be penalized because they chose to spend the money on other things besides paying us, even though you gave them the money to pay us. Like Commissioner Irvin brought up, you know, you can give them the money, but you can't tell them where they have to spend it. And that's what's happened, and now that's why we are so far behind. That's why we're asking for an substantial amount just to catch us up where we need to be. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Somebody else like to speak? Please come forward. Hey, listen, don't be shy. Come on up, guys. Welcome, Hod.
I'm Kim Earp. I'm also part of the organization. We just got told.
Please tell your name and address. I didn't hear your address.
Kim Earp, right?
Kim Earp,
Okay.
yeah.
What's your-
16601 Canesville Road, Las Casas.
Thank you.
We just got told 10% and 2.5%. We've gone back and kind of figured that up. That is $30 a month for the next 4 years. $30. That won't buy 10 gallons of fuel. So and the insurance thing that we're all kind of in a tizzy about, that should change tomorrow, where the county can take back the responsibility of the children. Because we've all decided if we have to buy the liability insurance for these children, we're not going to sign a contract because that's too much liability on each one of us. And we just can't do that. So we're still working on the contract. The county has not given us a proposal yet. They gave us a contract with 5% 000, but we were told that was just, I've forgotten the word they used, but that really wasn't what they were offering. And we still hadn't gotten one. We just heard tonight, and we had no idea that, because Dr. Sullivan has said 10 to 12.5. We've heard 20% from some, and we have asked for 34.8. We realize that's a lot, and probably would take less, but we cannot do $30 a month. That just is not going to happen. And I don't know. I know you guys are the ones that, sends the money, but we've got to get them on our side too. We got to have y'all on our side, and we have to have them on our side. So we would appreciate y'all standing behind us and voting to give us more than 10%. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else, please come forward. Tyler?
My name is Tyler Black. I live at 3016 Richardson Road here in Murfreesboro.
Can you say that again?
Tyler.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have a speech wrote for this. We weren't expecting to be able to get up here, but inflation has cost everybody. The county is, working hard on inflation, their budget and everything else. Inflation's hit us tremendously because our inflation for the buses and stuff has went up so much compared to your groceries and stuff like that. I mean, everybody's hurting. We realize that, but we cannot continue operating at a 10% raise, 15% raise. We just can't do it. I mean, it's killing us now. We've got I'll even say it myself, dipping into savings just to survive right now. So, I mean, we're asking for help. It ain't got to be all of it at once, but we need something to just help us. If we don't get it, you got so many contractors that says they're leaving. They can't do it no more. We can't. We're losing our stuff. So, I don't know how you're going to get your kids to school if you ain't got the buses running. And it's too late for them to buy them. It's too late for them to do an RFP again to do outside companies. The outside companies were way higher than what we're even asking for with our highest percentage. So that's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Guys, we appreciate you coming, and I'll speak for myself. We'll try to help you as much as we can. This group here is tasked with figuring out how to pay for all the requests. We don't know, I don't know what all our revenues will be, and don't know all the expenditures yet, but we'll be starting our budget process shortly.
Next budget meeting, May 8th, I believe, will be when you'll have the first draft of the budget.
Okay, guys. Well, that concludes our business tonight. We're adjourned.